Welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. This podcast is a production of Swaim Strategies, a consulting firm dedicated to nonprofit fundraising events. We're coming to you today from the studios of the AV department. Please welcome our hosts, Kristin Steele and Samantha Swaim.
Hello, and welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. We are back at the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference, bringing you all of the experts from the stage. Today, we have a special episode with two of the speakers that were at the conference. Tammy Zonker talking to us first about her new book, just published, Calling All Heroes. Let's jump in with Tammy. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fundraising Elevator podcast, where we are all headed up. We are so excited to kick off today. We are live at the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference, where our opening session has just gotten out. The audience is streaming forward, and we get a chance to sit down with Tammy Zonker and talk about the new book. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited, and thank you for having me here. What a great idea.
Well, tell us first, before we dive into this, I want to know, just introduce yourself and your organization so people know how to find you.
Yep, sure. Well, I'm Tammy Zonker, and I have been a fundraiser or worked with fundraiser for almost 30 years now.
It's gone just like that.
Like a flash. And I can't imagine doing anything else. So I founded my company, Fundraising Transformed, 17 years ago.
No.
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow.
Crazy. And we train fundraisers and organizations how to raise a lot more money. And specifically, over the years, we've really zeroed in on the work of major gifts and major donor development.
Well, I've learned so much from you in that space. And we even sometimes are at the same conference, like the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference, and have that opportunity to learn from each other. And your story tours is something that I have just felt like should be replicated by every organization out there. So the fact that you took the time to dive into two different models of fundraising that sometimes we see as controversial, and the donor-centered model.
Or pitted against one another.
Yeah,
or sometimes
a little tension.
Little tension. But the donor-centered model versus the community-centric model, you said no versus. It's a yes and you wrote a book that is just out this week. So for our listeners that are tuning in, this is going to actually be launching in December, so it will be a few weeks old. But tell us a little bit about the book. Tell us about Calling All Heroes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking and for allowing me to talk about this, because I'm so passionate about this. And as it were, this conversation actually began at the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference in San Antonio 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I gave a keynote called Calling All Heroes. And
Did you wear a cape?
I did not wear a cape, but in hindsight, in fact, these drapes would have made the
A
perfect
great cape. Yes.
drape cape. So the keynote was about the unfortunate divisiveness, the tension that a lot of us as fundraisers have felt.
Yes.
In the sector. Like, we want to take care of our donors, but we also recognize there is a shadow side to donor-centered fundraising.
Yeah.
Yep.
Largely in the space of power dynamics.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the truth is that when Penelope Burke coined that phrase, when she first rolled out donor-centered fundraising, the intention was never to let our donors run wild with our missions, to drive mission creep. It was never designed to
Exploit.
alienate others, right? So those were unintended consequences. And the flip side is, out came Voulay and Rachel D'Souza and that whole community, right? The Pacific Northwest, where community-centered fundraising was birthed, and really looking to lift up inclusiveness and diversity and the power of community over any single hero, if you will.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So essentially, the true beauty of that model is community and all of us. And the shadow side has been that it's a bit difficult to implement. There have been no clear processes for doing that.
Yep.
that sometimes we get pushback from donors and from board members
Yep.
who feel like, wait a minute, this is way different. Are we going to raise as much money? So again, there's strengths and there's a shadow side to both community-centered and donor-centered fundraising. And that's what my keynote was about. It was about finding unity,
Right.
about bringing forth the strengths of both,
I love that.
and finding tools to mitigate the shadow sides. Because the problems we are working to solve in our sector, in our work, are too big for any single hero.
Yeah.
It's true.
And so
true.
it was from that keynote, I just got so much feedback from all kinds of participants who, there were some people who looked like me or male versions of me who came up to me and said, I could have never said what you just said. Right? And again, granted, I am a white cisgendered woman with lots of unearned privilege. And I prefaced the whole talk about that and speak about that in the book as well. And then there were people at the storytelling conference, these wonderful fundraisers of color who said, thank you for saying those things. Thank you for being a stand for yes and,
Yep.
for unity.
I love yes and. We try to find yes and in our work all the time.
Yeah.
So it's brand new. I can't wait to read it, though. I'm getting one while I'm here.
Awesome. Yes, it's going to be shipping on November 25th. And I was telling Steph Davenport, of course, one of the co-founders of this conference, that they got books for the bookstore here before I got books, my own book.
I feel
which
lucky to
is
even have
fantastic.
one.
We got them, I think, 10 copies just as we were getting ready to leave for the airport.
Excellent. Timing, as they say, is everything.
It is.
You are one of those people who move toward light, move toward the silver lining, move toward solution. And it is something that is so inspiring to me all the time. Every time we're in community together, it is always, what can we do together? How can we move this sector forward? And I so appreciate that energy.
Thank you.
That gets fueled by something. Where are you finding inspiration in the nonprofit sector right now? Because I do think there is a narrative of a lot.
A lot of change.
A lot of change,
Yeah.
a lot of barriers, a lot of obstacles, but there is also the good, right? There's also the inspiration. So where are you taking inspiration from the sector right now?
Yeah, you're right. It is. It's always been a lot.
Totally. Totally.
The work we do, we're tackling big things.
Yeah.
And then we compound that by, government cuts and funding.
Yeah.
The one not wanting to talk about DEI and one not even wanting to have those words on your website.
Yep.
And foundations, nonprofit organizations coming under attack at risk of losing
Yeah.
their
Yep.
501c3 status, all those things. It is a lot. And I think for me, what calls me forth is the goodness. Right?
Yeah.
I think what calls people forth in general is truth, goodness, or beauty, or
Yeah.
some combination of those things. And
Yeah.
for me, what calls me forth is goodness. And that is what our sector is about.
Yeah.
And so, I have had people say, you've been doing this work for 30 years.
Yeah.
You're fairly well respected. You speak at a lot of conferences. Why would you risk that by taking a stand around this calling all heroes conversation?
Yeah.
Because you could be canceled. And the truth is, what calls me forth is goodness and doing what needs to be done, which is
Yeah.
really what's inside all of us, the great majority of the nonprofit and fundraisers and leaders that I've met. And so I think we just need to continue to be courageous
Yeah.
and be centered in our beliefs and values and live into that. Anything else, that's
Yeah.
mediocrity, complacency, rolling over.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I know you two. That's a hard no.
That's
Hard
a
no.
hard
Hard
no.
pass.
That's
But
a hard
that's
no.
something that it's interesting, though, to think about the clarity of the courageous voice. That is in the sector where I'm seeing a lot of hope is the organizations who say, this is our mission, this is the work we do, and we are going to keep doing it. Even though there is opposition and challenge, that clarity, I think, is actually helping them with their fundraising. It's helping them with their message, their storytelling, and allows them to be the hero in the moment when all those things are being challenged. So I feel like this is a good time to be looking for heroes, because there are a lot of people stepping up in that.
Absolutely. And my whole belief and premise that I pull throughout this book is that, number one, we need to take back the word hero, because that has been synonymous with pain. It has been synonymous with white saviorism.
Yeah.
That's right.
And systems that have done harm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because we've had a single hero.
Right.
And the truth is, my belief, and I know you share this belief, and that is that we are all heroes
Yeah.
in this sector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As fundraisers, as nonprofit staff, as board members, as donors, as volunteers, as the people in our communities, the ambassadors, the advocates, the people who are, standing for their communities. And certainly, for me, above all else, the people who have the courage to participate in our programs and our services,
Yeah.
to be those first generation college students, or to, step into like a clinical trial on some treatment, that research, that fundraisers have raised money for this research. And it really takes all of these heroes. And I think we've lost sight of everyday heroes, right? It's not spectacle. It's like there's an everyday hero in all of us.
Yeah.
And are we willing to step into that? And for what we see in our sector is, for a great many people, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think there is a good reminder that you're in good company, that those everyday acts of heroism, sometimes it garners a standing ovation, and sometimes it just garners you a good night's sleep, right? But that commitment and that repetition is where it's at. Where do you see opportunities right now for nonprofits to grow their support?
I think the key is, right now, we just need to tell the truth.
Oh.
To be,
Mic
not
drop.
that we've ever lied, not that
Right.
we lie,
Yeah.
but that we sometimes bite our tongue.
Yeah.
Or we wait for it to be perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is there anything really called perfection?
Right. Right.
Not when it's good.
Exactly. I mean, and I think that goes back to the courage.
Yeah.
Like the courage to say, maybe it is to a donor who has some misconception about the people that we serve, or the work that we do, or stereotypes about our work, our clients, our patients, our students. And because they have wealth, we bite our tongue. We let them continue believing those things for fear of losing their support. And I think that one of the things that we must do is to say, to be curious,
Yeah.
to ask open-ended questions without judgment, and to really begin from an empathy perspective, to begin to understand, that's so interesting that you would say that. Tell me more about that.
Here's an opportunity for you to clear the air or continue to insert the foot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if indeed they really do have a deeply held belief that perhaps we can have an open dialogue about, maybe we can bring them around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if we cannot, they're not our people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always, this quote from James Baldwin hangs in my office, and I often quote him. And he said, we can disagree and still love each other.
Yeah.
Unless your disagreement is rooted
Yeah.
in denial of my humanity and right to exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that is where they are, they truly are not our people. And what I believe, and what I've witnessed, and you probably have too, is that when we kind of put that stake in the ground and we say, okay, not our people.
Yeah.
When we have that kind of integrity and that kind of courage, we attract a great number more people who say, I want to be a part of that.
Yes.
They double down.
We
Yes,
double down.
They double down.
Not all money's good money.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
I think I think leaders right now are getting called on and pulled. I mean, I think that is always true. But I think right now, especially because the sort of nationwide volume and focus on nonprofits has gone up, and a lot of barriers are being named that are in place, and leaders are in that space. What is one tactic you would offer to nonprofit leaders right now who are trying to hold all that, trying to hold their team, hold their donors, hold their mission, and continue to put on that cape, put that cape around all of them, really, and make it that they can all keep wearing capes? What tactic would you recommend for them right now, for them to put in their belt to kind of keep moving forward with?
Keep moving forward. Yeah, I mean, it's an excellent question. And I think that the answer is probably different for different organizations.
Absolutely.
But two tactics really come to mind. One is to get into community.
Yeah.
And to talk about the pressures, the challenges, the resource constraints, the opportunities.
Yep.
And to identify people who will raise their hand and say, I have an idea. I have influence. I have this resource. Like, together, we're going to come up with more solutions than, the lonely executive director, CEO, who's trying to, nobly crank it out all by themselves and protect everyone. Get into community, have courageous conversations. So I think that's number one.
Yep.
And I think number two is just to realize that there is no perfection. There's only progress.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And so looking at what are our priorities, what kind of scenario planning can we do that really centers on what's important to us, our beliefs, our values, the priorities that we cannot let slip.
Yep.
And then what should be paused, sunset.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Because these are extraordinary times and they will require extraordinarily difficult conversations and decisions.
Well, I think we're beyond we've always done it that way. Like, the world is changing too fast. There's too many tools and resources at our disposal. There's such need that continuing in we've always done it that way, I just think like we get stuck. So the tactic of being in community like that, like being able to share ideas, solutions, I think is so important. And to get beyond but we've never done it that way, and to be brave in thinking about what could change, how do we get there faster. I think that we're seeing some organizations make those bold moves and find very big results out of it. So I'm excited to keep seeing folks bravely move forward with courage.
Yeah, agreed. I last week served on a panel for the Cranes Detroit Philanthropy Summit. And some of the other panelists were, leadership from the Kresge Foundation, from the Kellogg Foundation, like really
big foundations.
Big foundations, huge leaders. And they said, listen, we are under scrutiny too.
You bet.
Like, we are under an immense amount of pressure, and we have decided to just double down.
Yeah.
Right? To just, this is our time. This is what leadership really means.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is to step into it, not retreat.
Yes. You don't know the shape of your leadership until it's gotten some pressure applied,
That's so
and
true.
then you get to see who your people are.
Yeah. Was it Maya Angelou who said, when people show you who they are,
Believe them.
Believe them the first time, believe them.
Mm-hmm. Believe them.
Yeah.
And also, forward is a pace. That's sort of a mantra I keep coming back to. It's like, just what's that thing today?
Yeah.
And then what's that thing today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One step at a time.
One step at a time.
Yeah, a vision, but one step at a time.
And together. Doing it together.
And I think that some of the other things that we need to look at is, number one, we are a sector, but we are not an island.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so to look at corporations and businesses, of course our foundation partners, to look at other sectors and say, how can we partner in a more significant way to move this forward? And granted, with tax changes coming in the U.S. in 2026, they also are not necessarily incentivized to do more. unless they have that same calling and that
They are
same moral
emotionally
compass.
compelled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to look at that. We need to look at, our teams. And again, the diversity of our teams, the lived experiences, the strengths and the communities that having and intentionally curating diverse teams.
Yeah.
Like we say, like in the Calling All Heroes, that heroes are stronger together. And just like the Justice League,
Yeah.
right? We need like all these different heroes with different experiences
sets.
and
You
different
bet.
talents and
Yeah.
gifts and powers.
Yeah.
And we need to be even more intentional than ever about that. And we also need to look at technology.
Yeah.
I mean, fundraising is a relationship business, full stop, period. And AI can be a tool to help us be more efficient, to maximize donor relationships. And not just at the major donor place, but to gain efficiencies even in our middle donors and our monthly donor
That's right.
spaces. And we need every tool we can get.
Yeah.
And obviously the key is using it strategically, ethically, and responsibly.
I love that.
Well, for our nonprofit storytelling conference friends, you are giving the keynote tomorrow morning. You have a breakout tomorrow afternoon. You've been at the nonprofit storytelling conference now for how long?
I have spoken, including this year, 11 of the 12 years.
Yeah.
I love this conference.
Good.
Well,
Good
so
stuff.
amazing.
We love being here with you. Thank you for joining us on the podcast stage today. Thank you for joining us on the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. And I encourage everyone to check out your book. I am excited to read it. I'm going to dive in as soon as we leave here. And I hope you have a great session.
Thank you. And I look forward to attending your session
Thank you.
well. Thanks for having me. It's always amazing to spend time with the two of you.
It's
We'll
an
have a
honor.
great conference.
It's an absolute
Thanks.
honor. Have a great conference.
We're going to take a short break. Thank you, Tammy, for all of your shared insights, and I'm so excited to dive into your book. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Cherian Koshy about his new book, Neurogiving.
Ready for your hard work to yield more funds at your next event? Join us at Elevate, a nonprofit fundraising event conference designed to bring our community together and make planning successful events easier. Register today for this hybrid conference on March 3rd and 4th, 2026 in Portland, Oregon, or join us online from anywhere. This isn't just another conference. You'll walk away with battle-tested strategies, hands-on tools, and proven templates that top fundraisers use to raise millions. Your mission deserves fully funded success. Register today at swaimstrategies.com.
And welcome back. We are here to talk to Cherian Koshy about his new book, Neurogiving. Let's jump in. Hello, and welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. We are here at the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference, live with Cherian Koshy. Cherian, you have a new book coming out. I am so excited about your book. I cannot tell you.
All she talks about, Cherian.
I love getting
talks
nerdy about all things connected to how the brain works and how we can better understand that to move generosity, to support all these amazing organizations. And you have put all of that peer-reviewed study, knowledge, insight into a new book. I'm so excited to find out more about it. First, tell everyone a little bit about you, and then we want to know about the book.
About me. Jeez. Okay, so
For the two people who may not know who you are, could you please fill the gap?
right. More like the two people who do know, like my mom and my sister. So I fell backwards into fundraising almost 30 years ago, and just kind of tried to figure out what to do, went to a lot of conferences, read a lot of things, and did fundraising in a lot of spaces. And really, related to the book, it was a lot of trial and error and making a lot of mistakes, and then finding a lot of these pieces and wondering why one thing would work with one donor and the same thing wouldn't work with another donor. And I had all of these saved research papers in one folder or another, and then I would hear something at a conference from someone and be like, oh, I need to go find that. And people would ask me, like, where did you find that? And I thought at some point, it takes me a while, but almost 30 years later, I should put all of this in one place.
Yes.
And that's what the book is 40 pages of source citations, and
My gosh.
here's all of these pieces so that someone who's been around for a while doesn't have to go hunting for where is this research. they can take it off the shelf and be like, oh, there's the research on urgency, there's the research on social proof. It's all there for them.
So the book is called Neurogiving.
Yes.
It comes out December 9th.
Correct.
And my favorite part about it is the idea that I can find that source material anywhere, because I'm always looking to apply it to better understand. But what's your hope for the fundraisers of the world who pick up the book? What do you hope they'll do with it?
So for folks who have not dived into the data and the research around the brain and its relationship to fundraising and generosity, I hope that this is really a primer, that they get a sense of how the brain interacts with generosity, and it changes how they are intentional about using that to shape their work.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've talked about this quite a bit, and I think a lot of people have talked about it, particularly at this conference. We're all sort of citing the same sources, which is great. They're all in the book, and that's awesome. But that, I think, if we're intentional about making those choices, I think it changes how we run our organizations, how we approach our work. And I would love to see that happen. Then for folks who are in this space and have been doing this for some time, I hope that it's a ready reference and they can share this with their teams and say, okay, let's get on the same page, kind of literally, around this is what our work can look like, and actually to debate some of the principles, because it's not a simple approach. It's not a, this is the right thing to do. It's a starting point for a discussion around, okay, how do we apply some of this work in events or in our copywriting or whatever the case may be, in plan giving, for example? How do we start putting some of these pieces into practice, and how does that show up? So that really, I think, changes our leadership discussion or our testing. And that, I think, would be the vision for the book, is like, this is our conversation starter.
So before we leave the book, because we do want to ask you a couple other big picture questions, but before we leave the book, I want to just frame something you said about leadership discussions, because I think that for me, oftentimes, having the why behind things, like why we're making this recommendation, why the brain reacts this way, is a way that we can help the board, we can help the committee understand the choices and come along with us. And so for me, oftentimes, the research that we pull forward is to help bring people into a shared place of understanding.
Precisely right. And I Sun Tzu says tactics without strategy is the fastest way to defeat. And I think sometimes we play like a card game. We play cards like urgency or social proof or some of these heuristics. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but like the session I just did, sometimes people play the card of surprise and delight without knowing why that works. And then they don't understand when it doesn't work.
Right.
And that's the key that I hope the book and the discussions, the research leads us to, is, okay, let's unpack why surprise works, and then we can start to then decide how we should deploy surprise in our own organizations and be intentional about those choices.
There is a relationship between what you are doing as an organization and donor behavior. And I think that's what's so great about having all of this in one place, is that I think sometimes there's that spray and pray approach.
100%.
And then we act confused when donors don't perform the way that we intended them to.
Precisely
it's like,
right.
well, you're not working in alignment with what's actually happening in their brain or in their world. And so I think people starting to understand that there is actually, I hesitate to use the word control, because I think that's problematic in this discussion, but that they can control or impact outcomes in a different way. And in fact, that strengthens their relationship with their donors.
I think the best analogy that I can provide is, like, there's a difference between an improv show and a Broadway show.
Oh,
right?
That's a great analogy. I immediately get, I don't know if everyone, but I get that analogy in a really profound way. I'm like, oh yeah.
Like, and for those that don't get the analogy, right? Like, in an improv show, there's that sort of like element of you don't know what's going to happen next, and you are just sort of putting it together on the fly. And so, like, I was in Chicago a couple of weeks ago, and I watched this Japanese comedy improv show called Batsu, which is hilarious and it's awesome. Like, you enjoy it, but you don't know, like, the actors don't know what's happening next.
Yeah.
Right.
They're doing fun things and it works and it's great fun, but it's different and it's not the same choreography. It's not the same as a Broadway show like Dear Evan Hansen or Hamilton. If you go to any Broadway show, you are seeing every piece choreographed exactly the same way every single night.
Yep.
And it works, and people will pay $500 for that seat because you have an expectation of what you are going to see from that actor and from that ensemble every single night.
Yeah.
And that is different from
Yes,
you know,
and.
yes, yes, and right, and a ticket and a two drink minimum, right?
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
there's nothing wrong with those differences. It's just how we approach it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Where are you seeing inspiration in the nonprofit sector right now?
I am seeing so much inspiration from so many people exploring the different aspects of testing and science and the research behind the work that we're doing. I'm super excited that we're embracing all of those different pieces because I don't think there's one right way of doing things.
Right.
And
Yeah.
10 years ago or so, there was this presumption that
Yep.
there is a right way of doing things. And if you weren't doing it that way, you were doing it wrong.
Right.
And that worried me. And so I'm so grateful to see so many people embracing the, like, there's multiple ways of doing things, and that's wonderful. I'm seeing a lot of inspiration around people trying a lot of different mediums of sharing the message, and I think that's fantastic. So organizations that are trying to reach donors in new and different ways is really exciting. I've now seen a lot of organizations kind of testing how they're interacting with their donors, and that's really inspiring as well.
I love that. Where do you think folks' biggest opportunity is?
We're living in a really new, weird, different, wild age, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think opportunity exists everywhere. And I think that's also, this isn't your question, but I think that's also a risk.
Yep.
So there is opportunity in how and where you can interact with donors and with your community. And that may be in like the technology. So I'm going to say the answer to your question is like the opportunity is
Yeah.
technology
Yeah.
because there's so many places where the technology is growing really fast. There's new technology that's happening all over the place. Shiny new object syndrome is an opportunity, but it is certainly a huge risk because it's changing underneath our feet as well. So I don't want to say opportunity without tremendous, tremendous risk.
Many, many caveats.
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Yes. For our friends over at Tactical Thursdays,
Yes.
what's a tactic that you would offer up to nonprofit leadership right now for them there's a lot going on out there.
Yes. So I don't know that there's necessarily encapsulating one
Right.
tactical piece,
Right.
but for leaders right now, I think the key, if I had to boil it down to one thing, it's information. Leaders need to have information at their fingertips and to have an opinion about that information. Leaders can't be behind on what's happening in the sector or around them, and they can't be in a position where they are waiting for information to get to them
Yep.
in order to react to it and lead their teams. Never has that been more important than it is today. So whether it's in the technology AI space or what's happening in the sector with the influences of the administration or what's happening in the economy, that information impacts every single organization and their own organization and their staff. So whereas in the past, they could operate under sort of this like muddy or incomplete information and wait and see, in today's world, there's a need for every leader to be curious and well-informed and probably start every day with about 6 minutes of like what's happening inside of our sector, what's happening outside of our sector, to be well-informed and to have an opinion on how does this impact my work in order to lead their teams well and to bring that into leadership discussions and staff discussions and to say, this is what this means for us and how do we move forward?
Well, and I think in doing that, you're modeling the lean in to change and potential and a much tighter cycle, right?
Correct.
We're seeing it speed
Precisely
up and
right.
speed up. And so if it becomes part of regular practice, it doesn't become quite as earth-shattering when you do it.
Exactly right. And I think the risk right now is that for some leaders, they're being entirely reactive to
Yeah.
the news cycle well after it has taken hold, and then they're scrambling, and then it is improv. It is
Yes.
it's totally a function of like, how do I reply? And they don't have improv training, so it's not yes and.
Right.
I'm scatterbrained around
chaos.
how it's absolutely chaos,
Yeah.
and then what I see is them providing the wrong answer. The
Yeah.
first answer, one of my mentors, coaches, Phil M. Jones, says the worst time to think about what you're going to say is in the moment that you're saying it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so many people, when they're not well informed and they're coming up with the answer in the moment, come up with the wrong answer. And that is a risk that is an existential risk to many leaders. So that's where I come up, that's, Kristin, to your point, that like that's the issue that I think is the most important piece for leaders is being well informed, coming up with your leadership vision or your leadership stance is critical.
Yep.
Well, at the conference here, you have been talking a lot about how pop culture, movie culture informs and can be a model for us in a lot of these concepts that you're talking about. And I sat in both of your sessions, and yesterday I was so moved to be thinking about how all these things that we apply in the moment of an event can then also be applied across multiple sort of touch points throughout the year, and those stories can continue to have a bigger evolution. I see that your book has the potential to sort of crack open for people a new way of thinking about, instead of being in pattern and just doing, thinking about the why behind it, thinking about the engagement opportunities. And to me, that is a gift that would really beautifully go hand in hand with the work Tammy is doing and Tammy Zonker, because I think that both of you are looking at it from the same, sort of like two sides of the same coin, around how do we share stories, move giving, make connection, but from this very human-centric place. And you're looking at how the brain impacts, then Tammy's looking at how the behavior is impacted,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And so we're super excited that you both have books coming out. They're both on Wiley Press,
Yes.
and they're both like now.
Yes, absolutely. It could not be more perfect, and you're right. Like, they very much dovetail with one another. I'm so glad that Tammy has written this book, and I've read it, and it's outstanding, and it is so powerful and important at this time. The thing that I would say that ties these two books together is that it invites organizations and donors into something that the world really needs but rarely offers right now, and that is to be part of something bigger.
Yeah, agree. I feel like we need that.
We do.
In the world right now.
We do.
Well, as we try to make sense of this crazy world, I'm so excited that there are thought leaders like you that are helping us to make sense and organize into sort of really understanding what's behind it. And we will make sure that in the podcast episode, everyone has links to both your book and Tammy's book, two incredible resources. I cannot wait. We're sitting here today and it's not out yet. So when this releases, it will be out. And so we'll make sure everyone can get a copy of it. But thank you for the work that you've done on the book.
Thank you, both of you. I appreciate you so much. I'm such a fan. I appreciate all the work that you do.
Well, thank you for joining us on the podcast stage. Have a great rest of your conference.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to both of our incredible guests for joining us live at the Nonprofit Storytelling Conference. And thank you for joining us at the Fundraising Elevator. We'll see you next week.
The Fundraising Elevator is produced by Swaim Strategies at the studios of the AV department. The program is produced and directed by Steve Osborne, with audio engineering and original music by Dwayne Anderson and Heidi Christensen. Video production by John Collier. Graphic design by Pendulum Creative Group. And voiceover by Josh Boykin.
Hey y'all, it's Kristin. Before we leave, I want to ask for your help to make the podcast grow. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please like, follow, and subscribe to the Fundraising Elevator. And if you're getting a lot out of the show, share it with a friend. Leave us a review. These things help make sure that the podcast continues heading up. Thanks so much for being here and tuning in.
Are you ready to engage supporters and grow your base with your own podcast? Then let us introduce you to our partners at the AV department in Portland, Oregon. In addition to delivering exceptional live event audiovisual production and videography, they also have a top-tier production studio and an expert team ready to take your content ideas to the next level. Contact the AV department to schedule a consultation and start bringing your podcast vision to life.